Why do I always have a hard time finding your YouTube channel?
YouTube.com/vapingcc.
Oh, you're not live yet.
It just went.
Too.
It should be.
Okay, I'm going to share on Facebook.
What's up, everyone? Welcome to another episode of VCC Live. Tonight we're going to be talking about Safada, Utah. Some information that I basically rearranged some stuff because I thought this was a bigger and better use of our time to talk about tonight. And so Jay and Matt may not be privy to it, but we're going to explain what I know to this point, and we're going to talk about what we think about that. Also, had an interesting conversation today with Jeff from Innovate here in the Tampa area. And we were discussing what does changing the predicate date actually mean. I think there are some varying views out there, so we're going to throw it around a little bit and see what we think that it means. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And then we'll take any questions you guys might have or input.
Yeah.
So we'll start out with
you called me Matt, but that's okay.
Did I call you Matt?
Yeah, you did. It's fine.
Oh,
I'm gonna let it go.
Sorry,
I wasn't even gonna say anything.
Oh, I'm sure someone would have commented.
Well, your first initials are right next to each other in the alphabet, so I can see the confusion.
Yeah, that happens all the time.
Sorry about that. Suck my grim.
Hey, no sweat.
So yeah, Matt, as you can see, is not with us again tonight. Family commitment, so it's cool. Like I said, we're informal here. We understand that people have lives and stuff going on. So Matt will be back with us when he can be back with us. So it'll be Jay, Nick, and myself tonight. And Jay, tell us what's happening. How are things? You look very contrasty out there or something.
Yes, I was inspired by Nick, boosting up the contrast a little bit, trying to get artsy.
I'm just regular in color here. Anything going on this week? How are things in Mass? I know you usually give us an update on what you guys have been up to. But...
nothing much new. I think I mentioned last week that we did elect officers to the new and improved MASFA, and we are sticking with MASFA, Mass Smoke Free Association. No movement on the bill yet. We're still kind of trying to get all the logistics out of the way of getting the organization transferred over to the new pool of folks. So yeah, that's about it.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going, Nick? What you been up to?
Good. Same old stuff. Shooting videos, editing videos, fiddling around with obnoxious vape gear that makes me want to throw it out a window. So. It's always good times.
Anything that you've seen that struck you in the news this week? Anything that you came across?
No, other than I did see the article that Steve Forbes wrote for Forbes.com, which was great. I'm going to be talking about it in the next Tuesday Bro Tuesday video, but it's a fantastic article.
Cool.
Tremendous article. Check it out.
I'll see if I can get the link and put it in the description. We won't talk about it tonight, but I'll get the link from Nick and put it there. Actually, want to read it myself now. Good. You really talked it up.
Yeah, it's a quick little article, but it's very well written, and he's on point with everything he says.
Bill Tarling says Nick has been working out, so he'll look good as the first Breathe magazine issue centerfold.
Yeah, I have not been working out. But I have been eating more, so
that makes sense.
That counts.
It's good. That counts. That's effort.
Yep.
So yeah, welcome everyone. Thank you guys for tuning in. It's growing, steadily here in the watching now. So if you are checking us out live now, make sure you smash that like button and also share the replay link once we get it up on the VC Live Facebook page or right here on YouTube. I forgot what I was going to say. Anyway, it'll come back to me and we'll get back to it at some point. So.
Yeah.
Yes. Quick update. Justin just mentioned it as well. I was going to mention it in a little bit. The Indiana SB1 passed through the House, going through the Senate now. That's good information for Indiana. So cool. And yeah. So what we're going to start off with tonight is something that Bill Tarling actually sent me about 30, 40 minutes ago, and I deleted a few things that we were going to talk about and put this one in there because after listening to the audio from this testimony, I guess, at a hearing for House Bill 0370 in Utah. I don't know. I haven't read the whole bill yet, but I did read the long title. Let me flip over here to the full screen. And I will show you guys here in Utah, they have this Amendments to Tobacco Regulations 2017 General Session, State of Utah. The long title says this bill establishes new requirements for the licensing of tobacco retail shops and amends the definition of smoking. I've already searched for smoking so that it comes up highlighted in yellow here, so it's easier for me to pick out. But highlighted provision says this bill amends municipal and county business license practices for a retail tobacco specialty business, amends the definition of smoking in the Utah Indoor Clean Air Act. That's the kicker right there. So basically they want to define vaping as smoking and include vapor products in that category, not just as tobacco products, but they want to define vapor that comes out of these devices as smoke. Which boggles my mind, but anyway.
they did that in Mass.
Yeah, I know. Beginning January 1st, 2018, requires all tobacco specialty businesses to obtain a permit from a local health department, establishes requirements for tobacco permit application, establishes the standards that a local health department shall apply when determining whether to issue a permit to a retail tobacco specialty business, gives the local health department and the state health department enforcement authority, and provides penalties for violations of tobacco permits. So if we go down here a little bit, we'll see. This is the part where it's defining smoking now. I guess I can take it off this orange, but anyway, you'll see it. Smoking means the possession of any lighted or heated product in any form, inhaling, exhaling, burning, or carrying any lighted or heated cigar, cigarette, pipe, or hookah that contains tobacco, nicotine, or a natural or synthetic tobacco substitute or flavored product. Clearly, they mean e-liquid. Using an e-cigarette or using an oral smoking device intended to circumvent the prohibition of smoking in this chapter. So clearly they're focusing on, I'll go back over to us for just a second. Clearly they're focusing on electronic cigarette devices and e-liquids and the vapor that is produced from these devices. I'm not even going to go into how many different ways that could be bad for other states, because as we know, states like to play monkey see, monkey do. It's bad enough that the FDA has already defined this as tobacco products, and now the state of Utah wants to start a trend of defining, or continue a trend, I guess, in Massachusetts, maybe a couple other places that define smoking as vaping as well. So what are your initial thoughts to the bill, since we'll talk about that before we get on to what happened at the testimony?
It disgusts me that how lawmakers create public outrage and or sway public opinion simply by defining products incorrectly.
Yeah.
It drives me nuts. They do the same thing with firearms, the whole assault weapons ban, all that stuff. Simply by creating new definitions to make things sound scarier than they are. That's just one of the huge tools that they use to kind of form public opinion to follow a new law or a new bill or whatever. It really drives me up the wall.
Right.
Yeah.
Nick,
that's
what do you think?
Ridiculous. I mean, that is almost laughable. Like they really they want to classify vapor as smoke.
I guess
that's something they actually want to do.
They actually want to do that, right? And you're going to be even more beside yourself in just a minute when I play this audio clip.
Good Lord.
So what Bill Tarling said to me was a link to some information that I guess the Utah SFATA chapter press secretary, I think is what he was. He was in a leadership role at Utah SFATA, a guy named, oh my God, it completely just left my, Shiloh Platts, I guess. Which we'll hear some audio from him. So I don't know how to, I guess I can go full monitor and pull this up, but you guys are not able to hear, are you, Jay and Nick?
Correct.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what he says after he says it. Then let me go to full monitor.
Okay, that'll be awesome for the viewers.
That'll be awesome for you guys, yeah.
And do so quickly. Thank you, sir. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shiloh Platts. I am the Utah chapter co-president of the Smoke-Free Alternatives Trade Association, and we would like to speak on behalf of HB 370 in support of the bill. We represent many different vapor businesses across the state and have a federal chapter out of Washington, D.C. Our position, and we find ourselves in alignment with the county health departments as well as the physicians groups, is that there should be fair and responsible regulation of these products. The FDA has deemed vapor products as tobacco products, and thus the definition of smoking should also include vaping in order to be consistent with the new federal law.
Okay, I'm going to stop it there because you guys can't hear, but what he basically said in his introduction, Shiloh Platts, representing Utah SFATA, was that Utah SFATA was in support of HB 0370 and that vaping should be defined as smoking because the federal government, the FDA, has already clearly said that vapor products are tobacco products.
What?
Yes,
Oops.
you heard that correct.
Oops.
Yeah. I mean, that's pretty much verbatim what he said in a nutshell. Nick, you have some weird light shining on your face.
I know,
Looks
it's
like
my
your blinds
blinds.
But anyway,
Waving.
yeah. So the Utah Smoke-Free Association, they're in chat right now. And guys, to be fair, we're giving both sides of this. I wanted to play that first, but now real quickly, I want to go over here to the response by the national SFATA chapter. And this I found here on, can you guys see this now on your screen?
Yep.
Okay,
Yep.
so I found this on the SFATA web Facebook page. It says, setting the record straight. First of all, I think the guy spoke out of turn. I know from previous dealings with SFATA that anything that comes out of state chapters is supposed to be cleared by them, which is my first initial reaction. I could not believe that Pamela Gorman and their group at SFATA would approve this. But anyway, let me just read their statement from 3 hours ago. Setting the record straight. Public testimony was made today in a Utah hearing by one of our chapter co-leaders that was not approved and with which we do not agree as an organization. SFATA does not support Utah HB 0370 and does not have any position that would include vaping in the definition of smoking. While we do agree that our products should be reasonably regulated, we have taken no official position on this particular bill and generally would oppose bills that would seek to limit growth of the industry in a given state or access to these important products for consumers. Further, we do not believe that the FDA regulations in any way impact state definitions of vapor products, and we fight against false statements of this sort routinely in our public policy work all over the country. Our state chapter leaders must agree to our strict chapter policy that governs when a member company may use the SFATA trademark for public use. All public statements about SFATA's positions require prior approval, which was not secured in this situation. This act of misrepresenting SFATA's positions in a public hearing is a dramatic breach of this agreement, which may have done harm to our brand. The individual involved has been removed from their leadership position in the Utah chapter effective immediately.
Wow.
We apologize to other Utah vapor companies and our SFATA members nationwide who have been shocked and dismayed at the independent act by this individual and testimony supporting HB 0370. So that was by SFATA 3 hours ago, the SFATA national chapter. So, yeah, I mean, I guess it is difficult for... well, first of all, I think national chapters of national organizations. I don't know what SFATA does to vet their leaders of their state organizations, but clearly, I think that they were as shocked as I was when I heard the audio from this, and listened to a co-leader of a SFATA chapter in Utah. Making those kind of statements in support of a bill that's clearly against the vapor industry in Utah. So I'll be quiet for a minute. I've talked for a bit. You guys, what do you think, Jay and Nick? Tell me what your thoughts are on it and how it was handled. I think it was handled well by the national chapter, and hopefully they can prevent it in the future. But
absolutely, I think it was handled as well as could be expected from national SFATA. I do understand the need to compromise at the state level in certain circumstances. However, this is not one of those situations, clearly. By lumping e-cigarettes in with cigarettes through an actual bill, you're really handcuffing the entire state, the entire industry in that state. It makes zero sense. I was not aware that state SFATA chapters needed to vet any official quote unquote position with regard to their own state's legislation. And I think we're seeing a good representative example of why they do that. But no, ultimately, I think it's really good to see that National SFATA stepped up. I have nothing but respect for Pamela Gorman and the new leadership at National SFATA.
Right.
And this just really kind of confirms that.
Right. And just so we're clear, in chat is Aaron from the Utah Smoke-Free Association. He's not affiliated with SFATA. I saw a comment that said Utah Smoke-Free Association. We're talking about two different organizations, guys. So
right, correct.
Utah Smoke-Free Association has been around for a long time. Aaron has done a lot of work there, so we appreciate you guys. And it looked like SFATA was actually, doing some work there as well until this happened. And there's always the until this. So,
right.
Nick, what do you think? What are your, what
was
said, how it went?
So, just so I'm clear, the statement was made not by someone at SFATA.
No, it was SFATA state co-leader, I guess, or co-chapter president or something.
Oh, okay.
So SFATA Utah has their leadership, and he was one of them.
Okay, and then National SFATA made a statement and said, "Hey, whoa!
It was absolutely
of course,
not cleared by us.
Right.
We did not approve the message. We do not support HB 0370. Yes.
Okay, that's good. I mean, that's good. It's a bummer that it happened in the first place. That's something that shouldn't have happened in the first place, I don't think. And it hopefully it blows over fast. Yeah. But most of the time, and I'm only using this is a dumb example, but a long time ago, years ago, I said in one of my videos that if I had a time machine, I would pay a visit to Hitler, right? Like something along those lines. But the way that I said it, it made it sound like I wanted to go hang out with Hitler. And I still, years later, people think I'm a Nazi, and like they comment on that video that I'm acting like a Nazi, and I'm like, well, no, I've already corrected this. This was years ago. We need to forget about this.
Right.
So this is going to be something that's going to be not like a mark, but it's going to be a thing that has always happened. You can't undo that.
Right.
Right.
It's like Bill says in the chat. Bill says if Utah does pass the bill, that's on record during the testimony for comments on this from the SFATA Utah chapter. So kind of along your lines, Nick, what you're saying, absolutely. I mean, they're going to take that statement and say, look, even the Utah chapter of SFATA supported this during and whatever happens afterwards, the aftermath of it, even if National SFATA puts out a press release, and they're not going to, the media, the politicians, they pick and choose what fits their agenda, and that's what's going to happen in this scenario. So
yep.
Anyway, I had to have a vape. Sorry for the dead air.
Well, hopefully in the future, National SFATA makes it a little more clear, how public statements are to be treated before they're made.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I understand that as well. You can't have your thumb on everybody all the time, and you can't.
Yeah.
If someone says, "Oh yeah, this is our statement," they could even not read that statement and go up to the podium
but
and say whatever the hell they want.
My question is was this in fact just the fact that there was an individual in the state chapter that went rogue, or was this the fact that the state chapter didn't understand that comments like that needed to go through the national organization first?
I mean, I first of all, I can't imagine anybody in the vaping industry who in the hell would support this to begin with. Let's get away from the fact that the second that it was set out of turn and it was said without being approved, what vapor would stand at a podium and say, we agree that vaping should be defined in the definition with smoking? That's just ridiculous.
The only thing I can think of is that they were trying to find a compromise, trying to show to the Utah legislators that they can work with them on things. I don't know.
Yeah, well, organizationally, you have to have. Maybe there needs to be. And again, I'm not going to stand and be a Monday morning quarterback. I have, organized a national association, even though we only had 4 states under our auspices with Vista, but we had constant communication with the people who were in leadership in those states. And if they had a question about what to say or not to say, they were in touch with me and the other leaders of Vista. Vista is no longer in existence, but I mean, looking at it from a bigger level, maybe there needs to be some training involved with how, if you're going to have people speak on your behalf of an organization, they should be trained in what to say and how to say it, the content and delivery of it, especially if it's going on public record in a testimony for a House bill that's as stupid as H. Bill 037 in Utah. Thoughts?
Yeah, my first reaction is that whoever it was, he or she just made a mistake. Like, oh, I shouldn't have said that. I think
what you're thinking, you're comparing it to your situation where you made the comment about Hitler. This was clearly premeditated. I mean, he planned this.
Yeah.
When you listen to it on the replay, Nick, you'll hear it sounds as though he practiced it or rehearsed it, because he didn't even stutter at one time. I mean, this is not something he accidentally said. Absolutely not.
Yeah, I get that. And then, well, I mean, obviously, all you can do is damage control, put out fires, and change policy moving forward.
Right.
I'm assuming that from now on, SFATA will have a don't say anything rule, unless you come to us first, or,
Well, according to National SFATA, they already have that in place. But what I'm saying is you need to have some training on that, or some meetings, and make sure that it's clear on what you can and can't say.
Don't say anything.
Right.
Because you can't fuck anything up. Like, it might look bad, like, oh, they couldn't be reached for comment, but at least you didn't say something really damaging.
Yeah. Well, he attended a public hearing and intentionally said what he said. So, I mean, I think that they reacted swiftly and certainly, and I think that it was the right decision to definitely remove him from leadership. I mean, not just leadership. I would remove him from Utah SFATA completely, not just the leadership position, but anyway.
Dang.
So anyway, just wanted to bring you that bit of news tonight, guys. And this can be a lesson for everybody out there as well. When you're going to speak at a public meeting of any kind, even if it's to your local county commission or city commission, plan exactly what you're going to say. Talk to people out there who are knowledgeable about how to speak at such meetings. Don't. I mean, again, I don't know how anyone could have avoided this, because he could have said, "Yeah, this is what I'm going to say," and then gone up there and said something completely different. For what reason, to what end, I have absolutely no idea. It's just mind-boggling that a vapor would say that, especially someone in a leadership role with a state organization. But it happened. SFATA responded swiftly and certainly, and hopefully they can recover from it and move on. Yeah,
it's amazing. I feel like as he was saying it, it should have sounded wrong in his head. Like, if he's a vapor and he's saying this
right
on the record, it should have felt wrong coming out.
I mean, ultimately, that's the question I have. Why would you say that? Why?
Unless he was like, a deep undercover mole, and it was the plan all along to sabotage Utah SFATA, local Utah SFATA. That's the only other logical conclusion.
Yeah, I mean, because the whole the line of logic, it's the very definition of a non sequitur. Like, the FDA classifies vaping as a tobacco product, therefore vaping is smoking.
Right.
That's a complete non sequitur.
I mean, that's why originally this was deemed vaping and not smoking too, or smoking.
Yeah, it doesn't. And there's so many bad analogies I could make.
Right, and why this matters so much, why this bill passing matters so much is, again, we have approximately 40 million smokers left in the United States. If they start seeing that states consider it smoking, they're going to just say, man, if it's still the same as smoking, I'm just going to go ahead and smoke. Why would I switch? And that's the detriment that these types of laws are going to do in states around the country if they continue to pass.
Yeah, and you know what? One final thought. I was planning on becoming a Mormon. Not anymore.
Yeah, probably don't do that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
All right. So we're going to move on. We've covered about half the show roughly with that, and I think we covered it in detail enough that we can move on from it. So I want to transition into this. So this afternoon I was meeting and talking with Jeff from Innovate, one of the owners of Innovate in the Tampa area here, and we started talking about what the new coal bishop, the HB 1136, would mean to the industry. And someone in chat asked a few minutes ago, what's happening, any news on HR 1136? I haven't seen anything yet. I checked it today. It looks like it's still in the same position. It's assigned to the House Committee on Energy and Commerce. of which I was shocked to find that my my representative, where I live here in Florida, he is actually a committee member on the Energy and Commerce, which is pretty cool because we were able to talk him. Me and myself and some other vapors in this area contacted him, and he was a co-sponsor for HR 2058 and also was in support of the Cole-Bishop Amendment. So that's promising for us. I sent him an email, which I posted on my Facebook wall. If you want to see it, go check it out. It was a day or two ago. I wrote his staffers, which, by the way, people, this is important when you're not always going to get, you're probably very rarely going to get your congressperson on the phone. Their staffers are the ones that you need to befriend and become, they know you on a first name basis. You feel comfortable talking to them on a first name basis. And that's who I actually wrote the email to, the staffers, and said, hey, could you please present this information to Representative Bilirakis and ask him, to co-sponsor HR 1136. So hopefully they'll take that information and get it over to him. And with his previous history of support on these types of issues, I'm hopeful that he will join as a co-sponsor. And he also happens to be on the first committee stop that it's going to make, which is awesome. But anyway, so let me tell you, let me ask a question to both of you, and I'll get your response and see what you think about this. I couldn't contact it. I was going to call in a few people and ask them what their take was on it, but I didn't have time to before the show. So the grandfather date is February 15, 2007. There's maybe one product on the market at that date that might need a, for something that could be compared to for substantial equivalence, which is why if the grandfather date does not get changed to August 8, 2016, 99% of the industry is gone in August of 2018, right? Because there's nothing to compare it to. So if that date gets changed to August 8, 2016, all the products that were verifiably on the market prior to that date become grandfathered in. And in my mind, and I do have a legal background, a law degree, I'm not an expert in FDA matters or regulatory law, don't get me wrong, but in my mind, that means any product that was on the market as of August 8, 2016 is exempted from the regulation and having to go through a PMTA process and having to go through an SE process. Such as, for instance, tobacco cigarettes, which were on the market prior to that date. Therefore, they are exempted. They don't have to submit a PMTA, obviously, because it's not pre-market anymore, and they don't have to submit a substantial equivalence because they would be trying to substantially equivalate them to themselves. So the whole point of getting HR 1136 through is so that we have newer products to compare things to for new products that come out post August 8th, 2016. I've heard stances that say, well, products, even if they move the predicate date, products that are on the market, say our product was on the market in July of 2016, it's still going to have to go through an SE process and blah, blah. I'm like, I don't think so. That's not my understanding of it. Once a product is grandfathering in means that it is not subject to the rule, regulation, ordinance, whatever that we're discussing. So, yeah, what do you guys think about that?
That's how I would interpret it as well. I mean, it doesn't give us free reign going forward, but it does make the road a lot easier. I mean, there's still going to be a lot of confusion about what is substantially equivalent. It'll probably cost a company millions just to go through even that process. The SE process, and then, but first and foremost, you have to analyze the situation yourself. Is this in fact substantially equivalent?
Yeah, we're talking about products coming to market after the predicate date,
right?
So
that's
products
what I'm
that are on the market prior to the predicate date. So if HR 1136 does make its way through and becomes an actual law, the predicate date gets changed. That would mean any product on the market prior to August 8th, 2016 is grandfathered in.
Yes, correct. I was speaking specifically to any products that come after the fact.
Right.
But no, I mean, me personally, I can speak, my entire e-liquid line was available prior to August 8th. So, I could continue selling. What, if any, processes would I have to go through? Would I still have to go through product registration or anything like that? I have no idea.
Right,
but
because
certainly
that hasn't been addressed yet. But they do have a loophole statement in the regulations that say we can change anything anytime we want to, and I'm sure that they would at that point. But they couldn't make a grandfathered in product if the predicate date is August 8, 2016. They couldn't make a grandfathered in product go back and compare itself to other products. I mean, what in the grandfather period? What do you think, Nick? Have you heard anything about it? I mean, just common sense. What do you think about it?
Yeah, that's the way that I've always thought about it. Is if we can change the predicate date to August 8th, 2016, then I'm in the same boat as Jay. All of my juices products were on the market before August 8th, 2016, which means we'll be able to continue selling those products. And if I do a new juice, then that means I would have to prove substantial equivalency, and that's going to be a lot easier to do, from my understanding, with the predicate date changed, because I wouldn't be able to compare it to anything from 2007.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Right. Okay, so then assuming then we all agree on that, I mean, any product that was on the market prior to August 8th, 2016, if HR 1136 actually gets through and becomes a law, those products are exempted from PMTA or SE process. However, I'm certain that the FDA is not just going to say, okay, we're going to have, what they're probably going to do is say any grandfathered in product is going to have to still be registered. The manufacturer's process is going to have to be registered. And we're going to need some scientific proof that these products have been tested for different, aldehydes and, whatever else might be in there. So that's what I think will happen if the date does get changed. Right now, there's one product that I've heard of. Maybe there's a handful of products that were on the market prior to February 15, 2007 that would be grandfathered in. But sorry about the barking in the background. That's my dog.
Unacceptable.
So, yeah, I mean, do you think that seems like a logical course of action? What might happen? The FDA is just going to say, okay, the grandfather date has changed. Here's a new aspect of these deeming regulations. We want to see some registration and we want to see some science.
Yeah, I mean, of course, they're going to have some sort of registration. They're not just going to let products circulate, in the United States without them knowing about it. So there's going to be some sort of registration process. As far as I don't know about if we're going to have to prove anything. I mean, I'm assuming that. Kind of like we're having to do with the TPD right now, you have to get emissions testing, you have to get toxicological reports done. I'm assuming similar things like that would happen if this goes through, but I mean, I can't say for sure. But of course, it's a no-brainer that you're going to have to register your products.
Yeah,
I think.
What do you think, Jay?
I'm gonna cop out and say I have no freaking idea. Registration certainly seems
speculate.
Registration certainly seems like it would be a normal course of events. Otherwise, the FDA is going to have a really hard time keeping track of who was on the market prior to when and all that stuff. If they put the onus on us to say, here I am. It makes it a lot easier for them. So I'm sure they will at least attempt that. Whether that's in contradiction to the movement of the predicate date, I don't know. That's up to the lawyers to figure out.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think? I mean, cigarettes don't. I don't think anyway. Not to my knowledge, cigarettes don't have to submit anything. I mean, they were on the market obviously for hundreds of years.
Right.
So they're grandfathered in. They would clearly
they get a pass.
But I'm sure they're registered with the government in some capacity,
Yeah.
These are huge, multi-billion-dollar corporations. They're not mom and pop e-liquid manufacturing businesses.
Right, but I mean,
and then the other aspect is the testing. Would they require testing? I'm not sure that they could.
I'm not sure that they could either.
But again, the FDA is going to try whatever they're going to try, and it's up to individual business entities to challenge them or not. Your guess is as good as mine as to whether or not any sort of vapor or liquid testing is going to be required for safety's sake.
Well, I would, again, this is just my interpretation of it, but I would take newly deemed tobacco products to mean anything that comes on the market after the predicate date, which would be August 8, 2016, if we're able to get HR 1136 through. Mm-hmm. That's what my interpretation would be. So what you're trying to do then at that point, I mean, it's just like, like the Crush, and this is one of the things Jeff brought up. What about the Crush, like the Camel Crush or the Marlboro Crush or whatever? Those are off the market now, right? Are they still on the market? I don't know. I don't even look at cigarettes anymore. But
I think they're still on the market.
Yeah.
I think Marlboro still has a menthol, a regular tobacco menthol combo thing that you can snap and change if you want to.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
So anyway, yeah.
You never smoked those, Jay?
No, that was before my time or after my time.
The last things I was smoking before I quit. It was in a black package. I think it was called a.
Never heard of them. Never heard of them.
It wasn't called a
Camel
Blue.
Crush.
No, there was a Marlboro. I smoked Marlboros when I smoked.
Yeah.
It was in a
It was
black
the Camel
package.
Crush. It was just a little. You snapped the filter. You pinched the filter, and it went from a tobacco cigarette to a menthol cigarette.
Yeah.
That's genius.
I know. Innovation.
So
We should totally do that with e-liquid.
If they're capable,
Put like
of,
little menthol pods, and if you shake it, it pops the menthol pod in the e-liquid, and
Sure.
yeah, why not?
Do it, Jay.
Because there's such a huge market for menthol e-liquid.
I'm just looking through
Sometimes.
comments in the chat real quick to see if we missed anything. That was really the only two things that we had to talk about, guys. Don't forget also hit that like button real quick if you're watching live and you haven't already. Please do that now. Jerry says, "What's up, guys? Watching you while I work running a brake press bending metal. Watching VCC live. What a good night."
Yeah. Safety.
Well,
safety first.
Pay attention,
Yep.
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seriously.
Don't bend your
Thank you
hands.
for tuning in. We appreciate it.
Nick from Daily Vape TV said, "What about TFN products? They're not even planning on registering with the FDA for the PMTA process." I don't know enough about TFN
the whole,
products.
Tobacco-free
the
nicotine?
whole
Tobacco-free nicotine. Yeah.
synthetic nicotine, yeah, or however
again,
they
people
do
are
it.
coming up with loopholes and stuff. I don't think they're going to loophole around it. I mean, even if the FDA regulations consider zero nic liquid a tobacco product, if it's intended or reasonably believed to be used with a tobacco product, so I mean, I think that they're all encompassing, and I mean, those companies that are going to be not planning on registering with the FDA for the PMTA process. I mean, if they were on the market prior to August 8th and we get HR 1136 through, then maybe they'll be fine. If they weren't on the market prior to that.
And I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on and just kind of say, like, I'm still not 100% convinced that TFN really exists. At least not in a a feasible industry, industrially relevant way. I'm just not sure.
I mean,
I kind of feel the same way about that as I do about this whole nicotine salts thing that people talk about.
Yeah.
I'm just not buying it. I'm not buying it.
Well, nicotine salts are a real thing.
Right, but all nicotine when it's isolated is a salt. So it's just like the carrier. It's all about the carrier. Typically, it's carried in propylene glycol or vegetable glycerin. I mean, nicotine salt is what? It just bypasses that product and people mix with it directly in their e-liquid? I don't know.
I just read an article about nicotine salts today, and I can't find it. But if I can find it, I'll read it or I'll send it to you. But it was really interesting, and it explained a lot of stuff that I had no idea about.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just not buying it. But if I'm obviously open to it, if somebody can just describe
here's
it
the point to me with tobacco
show me the literature.
If they can consider this drip tip or this tank, which is made from metal, glass, silicone, if they can consider that a tobacco product, why wouldn't they consider nicotine derived from anything else? I mean, it's just as ludicrous as that. So I don't think there's an escape route or a loophole for,
And if there is, they could attempt to close that loophole. So I don't know.
They absolutely could.
And Bill Tarling is saying a recent TFN manufacturer was just found to actually have been made with tobacco.
Yeah.
Okay, well, yeah, that's a thing.
They were only using the stems, that's how I see this kind of going.
Crazy.
Yeah.
All right, well, we'll turn it over to you guys in chat. Do you have any questions for us or anything that you'd like to talk about, anything that we discussed tonight you'd like us to go into further detail on? We'll spend a little bit more time on it. It's 8:41 right now on the East Coast, so we still have some time left, but there's no set in stone that we have to go for an hour. So
there is also one thing I wanted to bring up about New Jersey. Did you guys hear about New Jersey?
Jersey, big bad.
Something on the scope of it, but not details. Which
yeah, it's A3704. Monday at 10 a.m. They're having a health committee hearing for A3704, which, according to the bill itself, it just says prohibits the sale and distribution of electronic smoking devices. So I don't know what that means.
What?
If it prohibits the sale and distribution of electronic smoking devices, that means they're trying to ban vaping.
Yeah, straight up ban vaping in New Jersey.
I thought you were going to bring up the flavor ban.
Well, it didn't. Okay, excuse me. Not vaping, but I mean, it doesn't sound like they're saying you can't vape in New Jersey. It just sounds like they're saying you can't buy it or sell it in New Jersey.
Yeah, it just says prohibits the sale and distribution. Oh, it says prohibits the sale and distribution of flavored electronic smoking devices.
Okay.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Yeah, so flavors.
Oops.
Flavors.
So
Flavored
you should have
electronic cigarette
you
smoking
should have run that
devices.
statement past National Safada.
So I know, I should have. Good thing I
Uh,
only answer to myself.
So KBN Productions asked earlier, what are your guys' thoughts on Apple jumping into the vape game? Yeah, we covered something similar, like a little bit about this a few weeks ago on one of the episodes where Apple made it. I guess you couldn't have any apps that had anything to do with vaping-related devices, products, or whatever. Even websites or anything like that. So they basically banned an app from a person in the UK, and I remember covering that. And then within a day or two, there was an article out that Apple is coming out with a device or something for vaping. So anyway,
I thought that was a troll. Wasn't that?
No, it's an actual.
No,
They
it's an actual
patented. They patented some sort of vaporizer thing, but it doesn't. It's not like a fix or a mod or a something like that. It looks completely wonky and weird.
like all Apple products.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of hypocritical to say we're not going to allow any apps in the App Store, the Apple App Store, that have anything to do with vaping, and then within a day or two come out with a device that you're patenting for vaping. Maybe they just want to corner the market on the App Store and get only their app there. Who knows?
Yeah.
I think it's ridiculous. And, Apple clearly does a lot of business in China. I think all of their products are manufactured in China. So I'm sure they have connections with factories all over the place there that are just killing themselves to get to Apple with products. And that's probably what happened, at some point that, some executive from a e-cigarette manufacturer who but maybe also makes devices for Apple said, hey, here's something. You guys should run with it. It's a huge market. And Apple probably saw money signs, dollar signs for their shareholders and themselves and said, absolutely.
I don't know. I mean, patents get filed all the time. That never go anywhere.
Apple themselves had patented a million things that have never come to light.
Right.
Yeah, and may never, in the future. It could have been just some jackass in the R&D department had an idea and he said, "Hey, why don't we patent this? It cost us a few $1,000. There you go, done."
Just in case.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, and Jade Live says, good job tonight. Thank you, Jade. We appreciate you tuning in and watching. Blake says, did I miss the whole Utah spill? Yeah, you did. But the replay will be up either by tonight or tomorrow morning, so make sure you check that back out, Blake.
Oh, maybe it wasn't there. I'm really trying to find this nicotine salt article
Keep
for
looking.
you,
I'm
Jay.
just checking through the comments to see if anyone has
please do.
anything.
I just don't understand. The molecule nicotine is nicotine. Like it's either nicotine or it isn't.
Yeah, I know. It's, okay.
I
just
don't
calm your titties down.
I can't. I can't. I have titties, so I. You're lucky I'm covering them.
Yeah. It's all the high contrast black and white. That's what's hiding them.
Oh, by the way, I'm very proud of this shirt. This was like one of those 3 a.m. impulse buys. I might look like I'm listening to you, but I'm in my head. I'm listening to Faith No More.
Oh, that's good. That's a great shirt.
Yeah, one of my all-time favorite bands.
Yeah, Faith No More is great.
Someone asked in chat, what can they do in West Virginia? Let's see, it was Chris. What can I do in the state of Virginia to help fight? Virginia has the Virginia Smoke-Free Association, and I think it's Jay Taylor and those folks up there are doing a pretty good job in the state of Virginia. So check out, just Google Virginia Smoke-Free Association. You'll be able to find their website. It's virginiasmokefree.org. Get in touch with those folks up there, and they'll be able to direct you on what you can do in Virginia to help with the fight. We appreciate you asking and getting involved for sure. Rob says dubage. I think he's referring to Jay's comment from several episodes ago, showing his age. I want some mustard with my biscuits. That's a little sling blade for you. Some early Billy Bob Thornton.
Titties in an ego twist, now deemed a tobacco product. That's a stretch.
Yeah, make sure you hit that like button. Thank you, Sean, for mentioning that. We appreciate it. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you share the replay once we get the link up on. By the way, if all you guys in here aren't members of the Facebook VCC Live group, make sure you just go to Facebook right now. You can still listen. Just click open another tab. Search for VCC Live altogether, and we'll add you in there as well, because we post some stuff in there, stuff about the shows, and the replay links go there and stuff like that.
KBN is asking, what are your opinions on polls or signatures to fight bills? Are they effective or a waste of time?
I would say if a reputable source puts out something that like maybe Greg Conley at the ABA or something like that, but generally speaking, signatures on petitions and stuff do very little.
Yeah, especially online petitions specifically. Anybody can write them. Typically, they're written badly.
Yeah, very poorly.
Yeah, and if if a petition that's written badly gets legs, as in our world of social media tends to happen, it just makes everybody look bad.
Yeah, so if it comes
they don't do anything.
No,
they do literally zero.
Even if they are written well, the White House is just going to put out a canned statement and just say, "Oh, we refer all these issues to the FDA."
And I can't even count how many times over the last 8 years I've signed Save the Vapor Industry petitions. Mm-hmm. And it's literally the least you can do, and it's the least effective thing you can do.
Right.
You'd be better off making a 5-minute phone call to a senator or representative. That's going to go
sending a
worlds
email.
farther. Exactly. Even an email is better than petitions. Come on, get real. Sorry, I don't mean to sound like a dick.
No, I've spoken to several former legislators, and at the state level and at the federal level, and the first thing they tell me is anything that's mass to them, it's just like white noise, But if they get a handwritten letter, handwritten letter obviously is the best, because someone took the time to sit down in today's day and age and write a handwritten letter to them. They're going to read that, and they're going to take it to heart. I think probably most, 95% of the population uses email, and I think that's an effective way, unless on your representative's website they have how to contact me or provide some input. They probably check those forms out as well, because they put it out there and they're actually interested in what you have to say. So if you come across one of those, definitely do those. But again, try not to make it a form. I even put on the post that I put to my congressman the other day asking for his support of HR 1136 and his co-sponsorship of that bill. I posted a screenshot of the letter that I wrote, and I don't, you can use it to help you get ideas, but, don't ever do anything verbatim, copy someone else's. You want to kind of use it for ideas. Maybe it'll spark your creative imagination, and you can tell your story, tell why you want them to support it, tell how it's affected you. Your personal story will go much further than copying some form letter or signing a petition. So that's what I would say.
Mm-hmm. I would say that there is an exception to that, but it doesn't apply to us, at least not yet. If your organization is a well established and large lobbying group with a lot of public support, something like that could work. But we are nowhere near that stage of the game yet.
Yeah, if you're seeing a call to action or something from CASA or a reputable national organization, I would say you could probably trust that, or Greg Conley, or any of the major organizations, VTA. If they're asking you to do something, they've obviously vetted what it is they want you to do. So, I would trust that. If you just see some petition roll across your social media or email, I would say probably not so much. Nick, you sent us this in chat. Is this something you want me to put over on the screen?
Well, no, that's the nicotine salt.
okay.
That was for me.
Article I was reading.
Gotcha.
I'll read that. I'll read that in all my free time.
Read it. It's really super short. It's from. I didn't realize it was from the company selling nicotine salt e-liquids.
It'll give me something to go on though.
But it's a pretty good version.
Investigation.
There was a guy. I just saw his comment on Reddit, and he said nicotine salts. It's a method to extract nicotine without petroleum solvents. He says most cheap nicotines are extracted using petroleum-based solvents, which leave a small amount of those solvents in the nicotine solution.
Okay.
Any peppery taste you get from nicotine is probably those leftover petroleum solvents.
See, now that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's the same stuff. It's just
right. It's the exact same
pure
stuff, but it's more pure, and it's it's basically more pure. It's more complex. They talk about free-base nicotine being a single molecule, whereas nicotine salts are more complex, which I guess means cleaner. So there you go. Sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Sidetracked. But
no, that's good. Thank you. I'll definitely look into that.
Yeah, thank you for joining us, Aaron. We appreciate it. He says he's got a bail. Have another hearing tomorrow morning. He's from the Utah Smoke-Free Association. Have another hearing tomorrow morning and still working on damage control for today. Thanks again for highlighting things going on at the state level. We appreciate you tuning in, Aaron, and please share the video around. We definitely, state level is where I got my start in state and local advocacy for vaping. And we'll always try to cover topics. By the way, if you guys have any ideas or suggestions for anything that you would like for us to cover, I did post a link in the chat, and I'll post it again real quick to the Facebook group. Make sure you're a member of it. Just post up a post on the wall and say, hey, maybe you guys next week, give us, some days in advance, 2, 3, 4 days in advance so that we can actually research it and talk about it with an educated mind. But post up some stuff that you'd like for us to cover, some content you'd like for us to cover in future episodes, and we'll definitely, take that to heart.
Yeah, do our jobs.
Yeah. Well, at least do that part of it. You don't have to do everything, guys, but you do have to do something.
Good.
And I have been posting up. I'm starting to do I started another playlist on the Vaping CC YouTube channel called Vaping Revolution, where I'm going to post very short, less than a minute video clips about, whatever pops in my head. I used to write these Facebook posts and stuff, and they get so many views, but videos get so much more exposure than, text. People want to take a second and look at it. So I'm trying it out. We'll see how it goes. If you guys didn't catch the last 2 that I posted up over the last few days, make sure you check them out. They're on the youtube.com/vapingcc. And I guess that's about it for this week. I'm going to go finally eat some dinner. It's 9 o'clock here on the East Coast, and I'm hungry. And that's probably it.
Cool.
Any closing thoughts there, Jay?
No.
All right, short and sweet. We like it. Nick, what you got?
I'm just doing the freeze frame.
Anything coming up? Anything happening?
No, nothing coming up. UK Vape Jam is next on the docket for me, so I'm excited to go to the UK.
Well, we want to make sure we remind
everybody,
if you haven't yet, please contact your House of Representatives, your congressman.
Yes.
Please implore
Smash
them
the like button.
to support HR 1136, and if they can, co-sponsor it. The more Democrats we get on board with the Republicans, the better. And also smash that like button and share the replay. Check out Nick's YouTube channel.
If you want to. Also, me and Dwayne are going to be in the March issue of Vapun magazine.
Nice.
Me and Dwayne have an article about our bromance, and it's going to be just fantastic.
So check that out as well. And speaking of magazines, we are working still on content for the first issue of Breathe. If anyone's interested in advertising in it, you have until February 28th, which is another 5 days. You'll get 25% off any of the ad spaces for Breathe magazine. So make sure you check that out if you're interested. And that's about all I can think of. VCCT 17, Tampa, June 24th and 25th. Make sure if you are interested and want to exhibit at that, check out vapingcc.com. And anything you guys want to plug, might as well while we're here. We volunteer our time to do this, so might as well get some plugs in. Jay, where's your liquid carry that? Anything you want to find out about Nick, you can get at grimgreen.com, I think.
Yeah, grimgreen.com. There you go. That's all you need. Elbows up.
What's elbows up for vapors? I don't get it.
I don't know. It's just a thing that started. I got in the habit of in my videos of when I vape, I throw my elbow up really high, and I don't know why I started doing it. And so now I do it all the time. So we use hashtag elbows up, or elbows up for vapors, elbows up for advocacy.
Well, it's like you're in a cloud comp.
Looks like you're kind of trying to dab, but you didn't quite get it all the way.
You got to hold it up first.
Every
time you vape, even when you're sitting on your couch watching TV, hold up your vape.
Yep, hold it up.
Hold your head down, and then
elbows up.
Cool. All right, guys. Well, we're out for tonight. Thank you for watching. Thank you for tuning in live. Thank you for watching the replay. If you're watching on the replay, remember, you don't have to do everything, but you do have to do something. Get involved.